Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's me, John, aka Astro Comics, and welcome back to a new review. Today, we're reviewing another movie. Now, I reviewed a movie before. It was called The One by starring Jet Li. And, I actually really liked that movie. I thought it was a nice little thing that you will watch every now and then, a little cheesy action movie. But anyways, today we're reviewing an animated movie, a DC animated movie called Watchmen Chapter 1. Now, Watchmen. Watchmen was released in 1986 and 1987, if I believe correctly. Maybe 1987 to 1988. It doesn't really matter. It was written by Alan Moore and drawn by Dave Gibbons, I believe. I haven't checked. But anyways, I know it was written by Alan Moore, and it's considered one of the most iconic comic books of all time. It was basically what popularized the term graphic novel, and it wasn't the first graphic novel, though. Corto Maltese was the first graphic novel, in my opinion. But anyways, that doesn't really matter. Watchmen got a few adaptations in media over the years. I think the most famous one is the 2009 Zack Snyder movie. I'm sure you guys have seen it. I haven't seen it personally, but I think Zack Snyder is cool. He made the Dawn of the Dead remake. He made 300. I like some of his work. I don't know about DC, though. I heard his Watchmen movie is good, though. Now, Watchmen Chapter 1 is basically the most faithful adaptation of the comic book by far. It basically follows exactly what happened in the graphic novel, as I heard. I haven't read it myself, but it's probably on top of my to-read list. So the next time I go to a bookstore, I'll get some money and probably buy that. I heard it's kind of expensive, though, from what I saw online, the version in Serbia. But anyways, this movie is divided into two parts, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. They're each an hour and 20 minutes long. I haven't watched Chapter 2 yet. But yeah, this is basically just the adaptation of the Watchmen comics. And if you guys don't know, the Watchmen comics are basically in that universe, which isn't the main DC universe, though those characters do later get incorporated in it. Basically, there's this act where all superheroes, they can't exist anymore. They just do their own thing now. Like some are businessmen, some are scientists. Some are just regular people these days. But there's still some heroes who do their stuff. Specifically, the anti-hero vigilante Rorschach, who is one of my favorite characters in the movie. Now, Rorschach is voiced by Titus Welliver. I hope I pronounced that name correctly. And no hate towards any of the voice actors, but I don't really like Rorschach's voice. You kind of get used to it, but in the movie, I don't know who plays him in the movie. I'm not really that good with actors. I know a few actors, but I'm not that crazy with them. In the movie, he was played very fucking well in the Zack Snyder movie. But in here, I think the voice actor just really tries to do a Batman impression, and it doesn't sound good. Maybe a little bit of Wolverine, but overall, I didn't really enjoy how he sounded. But eventually, you get used to it. I thought Dr. Manhattan was voiced well. I liked how Night Owl was voiced. I like that. And Silver Spectre, again, I don't know who any of these characters are voiced by. I saw their names on Wikipedia, but I really can't remember any of them. But anyways, I thought she was also voiced fine. Overall, most of the voices are hit or miss. There's this one part where this random background character yells, "Oh my god, he's got a gun." I found that to be very goofy. But now on to the animation. Now, the animation, at first I was like, it reminded me of something. And I wasn't sure what. And then I remembered, clicked. It's literally like My Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. It's like this new Spider-Man show. You guys probably know about it. Though this movie did come out I don't know, probably 10 or 5 months, maybe even a year before My Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man came out. But they're sure a similar art style. I found some of the locations that the way they animated them feels very lifeless, especially the city. And at the day, at night, it kind of looks good. And the characters aren't the best, though. We do see Dr. Manhattan's dick like 2 times, so there's that. It's very tiny for some reason. So I think a lot of the characters with the masks, especially Rorschach, look good. Without the mask, at the end of the movie, he's unmasked. He just doesn't really look all that good. But there were definitely some nice moments. And now I think it's time that we actually talk about the story. Well, I already talked about the story. It's literally just the way it is in the graphic novel. I think they even straight up just took some of the dialogue and just put it in there. But anyways, after the superheroes can't exist anymore, after the Keene Act, I think that's what it's called. This former superhero, the comedian, is murdered at his home, and Rorschach goes to investigate, and he sees that was the comedian, and he's a little bit shocked. He then informs Night Owl and Silver Spectre and all these other guys who were former superheroes with him, and he's like, someone is maybe killing these masked us, former superheroes. Someone's killing the masks. And, we don't really learn who it is so far, but Dr. Manhattan straight up kills everyone in a studio because they were harassing him. Okay, they weren't really harassing him. They were asking logical questions. Because if you guys don't know, Dr. Manhattan, he is this fucking god. He's literally a god. He was like the scientist who entered like a nuclear particle accelerator or something. I don't know, I'm not a scientist. But anyways, he got in there and he got all these powers, like he can teleport, see into the past and the future and everything. He's basically invincible, enter the title card. You know, he's got all these powers, and he also goes to the moon and stuff. He's a little bit distant. He doesn't really like humans. Like, there's this one scene where him and Silver Spectre, who is his wife, girlfriend, I don't know. Also, he can't die from old age, so he's like probably 50 at this point. But anyways, they're doing the deed, and we see that he can literally clone himself, and he just put a clone of him to have sex with his girlfriend while he's doing something else. I found that pretty funny. But yeah, it's just like the comics. So if you've read that, you're probably just gonna see the same of the old. I haven't read it yet, so I definitely want to check it out. I'm really excited to see if Watchmen is worth the hype, because a lot of the content creators that do comic books that I've watched, they also put the Watchmen in their top 10. But yeah, there's also this threat of like a nuclear war with Russia, and we even see some Vietnam War flashbacks where the comedian and Dr. Manhattan were in Vietnam, and we see that the comedian is not a good person. He tried to rape a woman, he killed a woman, he did fucking war crimes and stuff. He's not a good person. So yeah, that is basically it for chapter 1 on. So I'll have to say the animation did definitely look a bit goofy, but I think I've seen worse. Let me tell you something. DC and animated movies are bangers. I'm not the biggest fan of the MCU. I don't watch the MCU as much as you think I would, but I do love some of their movies. But the DC animated movies are bangers. I haven't watched a lot of their older stuff, like there's Batman, Mask of the Phantasm and stuff, the Justice League show. But after that, from Flashpoint Paradox to Justice League, Apocalypse War, Dark Apocalypse War, I don't know, the last movie in that universe. All of these, not all of these, there were definitely some mid ones and stinkers, but nearly all of those movies were amazing. The new one, the Tomorrowverse, that also ended, I thought it was okay. Not the biggest fan. And, I'm surprised I never did a Watchmen movie before. Also, if you guys are curious, my first introduction to Watchmen wasn't the Zack Snyder movie, nor the fucking motion comic or the comic itself. It was actually this one video game that you probably never even heard of, called Watchmen and His Nye. And it's like this beat 'em up that was released alongside the movie. It's like episodic in 2 parts, and it's basically a beat 'em up where he plays either Rorschach or Night Owl. And I just thought, and I remember, I never played it myself, but I did see it when I was little. I was looking to buy some games for the PS3, and I saw that. And I didn't know who the Watchmen were, so I thought the Night Owl was some stupid Batman copy or parody or something. I heard the game was mediocre as fuck, so yeah, maybe I will play it one day to see if it lives up to that word. But Watchmen Chapter 1 is gonna get a nice 7.5 out of 10 for me. I've seen some people online say that it's horrible, that it's a waste of time, while others said it's a masterpiece. I don't agree on either of those. I think it's not the best movie. It definitely feels rushed, but I don't think it's horrible or anything. I think a 7.5 out of 10 is good. I've seen some other reviewers give it a similar score, so that's honestly my opinion. So yeah, that was it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment that you subscribe, so I'll reply to your comment and shout you out in the next video. But yeah, this was Astro Comics signing off. See ya.